he was like, can I please put this on SoundCloud? And I was like, hell no,
Word.
absolutely not. You cannot do that over my dead body.
Baby, yeah,
So Black Eyes was your first release, right?
Yeah.
And it was received like really well. Did you expect it to do that well?
No, I did not. I'm kind of always saying, like, growing up, and love doing so, and a lot of encouragement from my friends kind of pushed me to just put stuff out there for other people to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely wasn't expecting that. It definitely I definitely wasn't expecting it to make me be like, oh wow, I'm gonna keep like releasing stuff, like people want more, so no, I didn't really expect it, so it was really nice.
Gotcha. So since you have 4 singles out now, which one's your favorite one? Do you have a favorite one?
Wow.
I feel like
My favorite would probably be the second one, Fire. That one's just the most personal. I feel the most connected to that one, so that would probably be my favorite. That was my favorite one to write. So.
Okay, so how does a song come about? Who do you work with? How does that whole process work?
Well, I have a few different routes, a few different people that I collaborate with. One of my best friends, Ryan Cook, he's kind of my right-hand man. He's a producer. We kind of, he's like, I guess, my music partner, we pretty much do everything together. But the 4 songs that I have released were not produced by him. They were produced by Lembo, which is a duo music group of these 2 guys, Paul and Logan, who are phenomenal. And kind of the process for the songs I have released, I kind of had rough drafts. I had lyrics written, very simple instrumentals created, and then I would take that rough draft to Paul and Logan and have them finalize it, really make it sound professional. They play guitar, they play piano, they play all the instruments you can think of. So that's kind of my process. It kind of really starts from writing and lyrics and kind of build the instruments around my voice.
Okay, so that's interesting because I know a lot of people, or at least a lot of singers, will start off with like an instrumental. Like you'll start off with basic chords and you'll start off with instruments and then you build lyrics on top of that. But you start with lyrics, like you start with.
I do both. So
Okay.
like I totally like I have a basic understanding of the piano. Like I'll do like simple chords, just kind of messing around, but I really don't at least the songs I have released, I don't really dive into the instrumental until I have my half like close to done. Okay. But other stuff, like I have like a bunch of music that I have for fun that like just doing, and like some of them are the other way where it's just like my friend Ryan, for example, has like, I made this sick instrumental and it's complete, and then I just write a song on top of it. I have a lot of those like on the back burner, but for the 4 that were released, they were very lyric based and kind of started that way.
What's your thought process of like what gets to go out and like which ones to release and which ones to not release? Because I know for a lot of artists that's really tricky because you make all these songs and you're just like, which ones do I put out? Which ones do I just keep for myself? That kind of thing.
For me, the ones I've kind of chosen to release are kind of wanted to do almost like different genres, like the 4 songs I have released, they are very different.
Yeah, they are very different.
Feels to it, and that's kind of how I wanted to start. Just kind of like a little bit of all these different styles, like all these different things. Like I can do this, but I can do this, and so that was kind of how I chose to release those 4. And now I don't have any intention for like I don't know of any songs that are gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna release this one next. Now I'm like,
okay,
sure.
Yeah.
But that was kind of my like original process. Like I was just like, I'm like, oh, okay, I just felt called. I'm like, this one I want people to hear. It's different than the one before.
Yeah.
Kind of with Cherry Sweet, the most recent one. That one was my first really like kind of feel good, upbeat, kind of happy.
Yeah, for sure.
Like depressing Black Eyes. And so that was kind of that. I was like, I just wanted to change the pace. Like, I don't want to have people cry all the time. But so yeah, that was kind of how I've been doing.
I remember I heard Black Eyes. That was the first one I heard because Jeremy showed it to me. And then I heard Let Me Feel You Breathe was the next one that I heard. And like, I don't know what it was, but when I was like going to listen to it, I just didn't like expect that. You know what I mean? Like I didn't expect Let Me Feel You Breathe to sound like that because I had only heard Black Eyes. And then I was just like, whoa, this is like just completely different. And I thought that was really cool. And and then Fire was different too, and then this Cherry Sweet reminds me of, like, I was like, this is like a Harry Styles song, like that's what it really
My
reminded me
dude,
of.
that makes me happy. Love Harry.
Yeah. This was like an extra song on Fine Line, like.
Yes. Love it. I'm still finding my genre. Like I'm still figuring it out. Like when like I do make an album, what do I want the album to
Yeah.
sound like? Do I want it to be more like Cherry Sweet, or do I want it to be more like Let Me Feel You Breathe? Like, like I'm still kind of messing around with different styles. And so that's kind of how I'm like releasing music. I'm still like tapping in and like figuring out
Yeah.
what I'm doing and stuff.
I think finding your sound is definitely something that a lot of people don't realize is really hard for an artist. And it doesn't just happen. You don't just like have a sound and then you release music. It's kind of like a process, and it takes a while.
That's probably how I'd end up being. I'm never satisfied.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be all over the place. Like I'm gonna release like some like super depressing album, and then I'm gonna do like a hardcore rock album. Like God knows.
Yeah.
Like so.
Yeah, you can't put you in a box.
Exactly.
What is your answer when people are like, what genre is your music? I hate when people ask me that question. Hate it.
I just say alternative because it's a very broad
That's true.
category. Like alternative can be like so many things. So I'm just like alternative music. Like, and that's just my easy go-to.
Okay. How did music start for you? When did you start getting into music? Did you start by singing? Like, how did everything start, really?
So definitely singing. I've loved singing since I was a little kid, but it took many, many years till about I was like 17, 18 for me to be comfortable to let other people hear me sing.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
So it's always been singing based. Like I've loved to sing, and eventually it got to the point where when I did kind of start singing around my friends would like totally push me and be like, you better start singing. Like my family would force me to sing like in front of all these people, like, and I hated it so much until I was like, okay, wait a minute, like this makes me happy, I like doing this. And so yeah, it's always kind of been singing based, but it took most of my life to get to the point to like be like, okay, I'm comfortable putting this on the internet for other people to hear.
It took me till when I got to college that I was really like, wait, like you can sing, like, just, and I think like the confidence, it's weird that confidence can like legitimately make your voice sound better. That if you just like lean into your voice and you just like, you know what, I can sing, just do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when were you like, hey, maybe I should like, then when did you start like writing your own stuff?
So a few years ago, maybe like 2 years ago, I have a good friend named Bo, who very talented musician, loves creating music, and he was just one of my friends who knew I could like sing pretty well, and he was kind of like, hey, like you should come over just for fun and like sing on some things I made, like just for fun, not gonna go anywhere, like I promise. I'm like, okay, like sure, I'll do that. And so I went over, and I was singing and stuff, and it ended up sounding like pretty good. And and he was begging me. He was like, "Can I please put this on SoundCloud?" And I was like, "Hell no, absolutely not. You cannot do that over my dead body." And we argued, and finally he convinced me. And he was like, I was like, "Okay, fine. Like you can upload it. You just don't put my name on it. If anyone asks you who's singing, like just don't say me." Like I was like a nervous wreck. I was like, I don't care, just it's not me. And he was like, oh yeah, like absolutely. Yeah, he was playing my ass because he releases it, and like the next day people are blowing up my phone. They're like, oh my God, like you sound great. I didn't know you sang. And I'm like, who told you this was me? And they're like, Bo. And I called Bo, and he was like, you'll thank me later. And now here I am. Very grateful for that. So he really pushed me over the edge and like didn't take no for an answer, and had to like kind of like lie to me to like give me that confidence boost, because it took all that feedback, and then I was like, oh wow, like I really like start doing this more. So that's that happened.
That's awesome. You sound like you have really supportive friends. That's really awesome.
I do. They're great. They've been there's been times they've wanted me to sing more than I do, so I'm very grateful for that.
So who are some of your biggest inspirations musically? Who do you feel like when you listen to them, you're like, man, and you take inspiration from them?
Number one is Hozier. Absolutely love him.
Because I don't know, I think you look like him a little.
All a coincidence. I don't know. Maybe it's like subconscious. I have no idea. But freaking love his music. Like he is such a big inspiration, like with his sound and like how he sings and his like melody choices, and like love him. He'd probably be my number one, especially like closest to my genre, like of my style.
Sure.
Um,
I agree.
and then I don't know. I listen to music, like all types of music, like
Yeah.
everything under the sun, pretty much. Someone currently I've been listening to a bunch is Harry Styles. That
Yeah.
Fine album is so amazing. Like I think he's definitely having a little bit of effect on me and like stuff I'm writing now. Yeah, I kind of grew up with classics. My dad always had like rock and roll, like Led Zeppelin, like all that stuff. So I kind of grew up listening to that. And then so yeah, but I'd say Hozier is definitely my biggest inspiration, look up to him the most.
Yeah, cherry wine, cherry sweet.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what's next? I know you don't have a plan, but do you expect to like work on like an EP or an album, or just keep doing singles? Like what's your plan? What do you want to do?
So current plan is kind of definitely an EP.
Yeah.
One day, like probably next year, 2021, probably going to be an EP. But until then, just more singles, and just like creating, like when I make my first EP, I definitely want it to be, all one like feel. Like I want all the songs complement each other. I don't want it to be like bouncing back and forth genres like my singles are. So right now I'm kind of just creating singles until I find that sound. I'm like, okay, I want to make an EP like from this. So I don't know exactly the direction that it's going to take, but until then I'm just going to create, and who knows. I'm kind of playing it by ear,
Finding that sounds really important. So it sounds like you're like experimenting a little bit.
I am.
You find out this is the sound that I want for my EP. I think it's really important for projects to have like a cohesiveness, sound good together. That's like all the best albums are like cohesive,
and
like,
you can just play it and just run it, and it all sounds great together. That's because I was gonna make an album like after Black Eyes released. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make an album that sounds like fun. But then I realized, I was like, wait a minute, like I don't even, like I said, I don't even know my style yet. I don't even know I don't want to like release an album yet. So that's why I kind of was like, okay, well, let me just create a bunch of singles. Like, let me see what I can do, and that's how like Fire and like Let Me Feel You Breathe was like crazy experimentation. Like that song like channeled through me, and I was like had like the best time ever like writing it. And so I'm just like kind of still doing those experiences until eventually I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to sit down and like put the work for like a art piece, an album. So
I don't know if other people do as well, but sometimes it's like that, like you're your biggest competition, and sometimes you're just like, what if I make something better? What if like I outgrow that?
I'm the same way. That's another thing. I'm always like if I would have made an EP or an album right after Black Eyes, I probably would listen to it right now and hate it. I'm never satisfied. Like I'm constantly like, oh, well, this sounds great, but tomorrow I write something new, and I'm like, screw yesterday's song. Like that's the old me, But I guess that's the whole point. Like it's going to be that our entire lives probably,
Yikes.
Which sounds awful, but it's the truth. So yeah.
It's funny, sometimes you'll write like a song like when you're really in your feelings, and you listen back the next day and you were like, oh my god, you're so dramatic.
I know. During this quarantine, I've like been in my because I'm in my apartment in New Orleans now, but for the past few weeks I've been at my parents' house, and I've been like, playing the piano in my room, like singing, writing songs. I like walk out of my room and my dad's like, are you okay?
So what song I know you said Fire was your favorite. What song gave you the most trouble? What song was like the most difficult?
The most, out of the ones I've released, the most difficult would probably be Cherry Sweet. So I actually wrote it 2 years ago.
Okay.
2018, and it was like a really simple like demo. It was like a minute and a half. Like it was just like an audio file like on my phone, and I like didn't like it really. Like and like all my friends like you know, like who had heard it, like they really liked it, and they're like, oh, you should do something with this, but I don't know why it like wasn't settling with me, and maybe just because I wasn't ready. And then like fast forward 2 years later to now, I like came across it, and I was like, wow, like I can do something with this. And then it turned into what you can like stream now. So that one was kind of difficult because that one like I didn't like, and I was like didn't really know what to do with it, and I had literally sat on it for 2 years.
So what made you decide to go back to that? Because I'm sure you've written tons and tons of stuff in between.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just one day going through all the audio files on my phone from over the years, and that one just stuck. My roommate loves it. Like she is like my literal biggest fan, my friend Courtney, and knows everything from like the little demos on my phone to unreleased music. Like she knows it all. And like that one for the past 2 years, she's been drilling me like she like about. And like I was going through all the audio files on my phone, and like I listened to it, and she was like, please like, make it into a full song. And I was like, okay, I will. Because and then it turned into like so
her for Cherry Sweet.
Yeah, it's her song. It's my song to her. I'm freaking BFF. But yeah, and now I like love it. I'm like, because that's I've never really made something like that, because a lot of my music is so like dark and ballad and like slow, and like so that one was just like a really nice fresh of breath air, and I just like wasn't ready until now.
Yeah.
So that one I guess would be the most difficult.
Oh, this quarantine sucks.
It does suck.
I'm ready for this to be over. I'm ready to go to the club.
Right?
I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, the music at the clubs right now would be so good with all these new releases that are out right now. Oh, what a shame. At least music is going well right now. I know some artists are struggling though because of a lot of artists get their money from shows. So that's really difficult because we can't really tour right now, and I don't really know exactly when we'll be able to start playing shows again. Have you considered, doing any live shows or anything like that? I mean, if the world wasn't a shit show right now,
I definitely like want to. I definitely want the practice, and I just want to get more of the discography. I don't really know. So
more stuff to play. Yeah, for sure.
More stuff to play. More original music. To like, and then to have at least like 30 to 45 minutes worth of like original music. So but absolutely, I definitely want to do that when all this is over. I've been creating a bunch, so it's pretty exciting. So yeah, I mean, I've done a few like performances before I started releasing music.
Okay.
With some of my friends who play instruments and stuff, just to like get practice on a stage. But that's something I definitely am interested in and want more experience with.
So let's say you were going to perform, would you go the route of like a backing track, or would you try to get like some live instruments in with it? How do you think you would?
I'd probably, to start, I would probably do a backing track just because easier, but long-term goal, band is always better. Live instruments hit different, and like.
Would you ever consider forming a band? Like just forming your own Connor Scallan band,
I'm definitely like have that thought in my brain. I'm like I've like put it out into the universe. I'm definitely gonna see what like draws back in. I do have some very talented like musicians that are friends that like I like to create music with, and it would work. But it just hasn't been at like the top of my like list, But yeah, long-term goal, definitely band for sure.
I really hope that happens for you in the future.
Thank you.
Plus, it would be so easy. I mean, you could just raise your hand and everyone would be like, yes, I'm a bass player, I'll be your drummer. Like, especially with the friends that you say you have, I'm sure they're gonna want to jump on the train. You're gonna like just hearing like some of your songs. I'm just like, he's gonna, you're gonna. Just like I know. It's so good. I mean, like I said, when I heard, just because Black Eyes is my favorite, I love all of them. Don't get me wrong. I really like Fire. But just that song, when I heard it, I'm just like, there's no way this is like a local song. It literally sounds like a soundtrack to some Netflix show, some like teenage Netflix show, It's so
Yeah.
well. That's one thing. The whoever mixes it or masters it, it's so well done. Like it sounds so professional. I love that. One thing that I think is underappreciated is you have all these rappers, you have all these singers, these artists, but like the glue that is holding everything together are these producers that are like making everything perfect.
And like
Trap
instrumental.
song. Would you do a trap song,
Oh
Connor?
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I love I love it all. Like I totally like that's what like I'm still experimenting. Like I want to do some like trap beats. I want to do some like folk music. Like I'm weird. Like
Yeah.
I want to do like all types of stuff.
Yeah.
Like
I think your voice would sound really good with some indie stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that would
very
be really good.
I think that's my next step
I
actually.
want some Connor Scallan indie music.
I think I do too. I think that's what's happening.
I think my band's gonna start recording an album, and I think me and you should write a song for the album.
Yes, that's what. And like for me, like we just gotta like hang out. I need to just no expectations, and I just need to be thrown in the room and just like. Mm-hmm.
If you've ever been writing and like you're in your feels, it comes out really easily. It's really easy to find words, but this might happen to a lot of people in quarantine. But if you're trying to write because you're like, I should be writing right now, there's nothing to do. But if you don't have anything to say, it's like you're like forcing it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of how I've been. My favorite things I've ever written are the ones that I didn't even plan to write a song, you know? Mm-hmm. And like next thing I knew, there was one just bursting out of me and I was like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm. During quarantine, have you felt pressured? Like I need to be like making music?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's mainly like pressure like I put on myself, you know? Like, it's like, and then, but then, you know, there's been times where I get like writer's block and I'm like, all right, I need to be doing something. And I'm like doing it and I'm like, oh, but nothing's happening. And then like another time when I'm totally not trying to write a song, it's like, it just happens. And so that's something I've been like learning to like kind of like deal with and just kind of like let go, like not be so hard on myself, like, you know, like it's totally okay to like have breathers and not be constantly writing. So
nobody ever really talks about the emotions that I feel like a lot of artists go through. The comparison game is always really hard. You know, sometimes if you listen to like a really good piece of music, you're just like it can as an artist, it's different. Sometimes I get jealous of people who don't make music because they can just listen to music and like the music. But sometimes if you listen to a really good piece of music, you're like, damn, why didn't I do that?
Yeah.
It's good, or it's really good, and it makes you question your music. That sucks.
Yeah, that does suck.
Sometimes I wish I could just listen to music, you know what I mean, and not think about my music and not think about me as an artist. You ever listen to like a really good singer and you're like, fuck, I can't sing.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes I miss, being able to like just listen to music and not look at it through the lens of an artist, but just as a listener. And I think sometimes it's really hard to separate those two.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of really complicated emotions of being a musical artist. You got to be vulnerable, so you like basically have to just like let people see inside your soul.
I hate that part. I hate it. That's my least favorite part. And that part that took me a second to like really allow myself to be vulnerable.
A lot of times for me, because I'm a really confident person and I really want people to see me as this like strong, badass persona. But at the same time, I'm also a person and I have these really, really bad, I have mental health problems and I have all this. And when I write those really, really weak songs, sometimes those can be hard to release because I don't want people to think that I'm weak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with you, you know?
Yeah.
Like with like mental health and like all that stuff. And like, but that's also an outlet, like, you know, like music. It's like, that's how I'm like coping. And sometimes it turns into a fucking banger. And I'm like, damn, like, fuck. Like I probably need to release this. But it's like, still, it's like hard because, you know.
Yeah, it is for sure. Feeling like if you just push things away, it's going to get worse.
Absolutely.
Men,
always.
are you listening? Quit bottling.
Hello, men. Everyone, please listen right now. And I actually just read in, a book recently. It's like kind of relevant to what you're saying. It was basically like when you like experience pain or some type of negative emotion, like the best possible thing that you can do is to just allow yourself to feel it.
Mhm.
And because it will happen again, you will be sad or hurt again. But if you just allow yourself to feel it, then when it comes back around, you're gonna be twice as strong. You'll be like, oh, it's okay. Like I've already taken the bullet and allowed it to heal itself,
Yeah.
versus just like keeping like not. Oh, I'm just gonna pretend this isn't happening. When it comes back around, it's twice as bad. You know.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get to hear me say some sad shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and it kind of humanizes you, in a way because, so you said you've played some shows before. Another thing that's really really hard about artists that not a lot of people talk about is the come down. So when you're performing, um, you're seen as people see you differently than when you're just in a normal, when you're on stage, people look up to you. You're important, you're big, you're cool, you're awesome. And then, you go home and you're riding this high. It almost feels like you're on drugs or something, like you're riding this crazy high. And then the next day you wake up and, you know, your mom's yelling at you to wash the dishes and, you
You're
have to
almost again.
you're just a normal person again. And that like high to low is really 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 hard. Even like, if you're in your music zone, you know how you have like your personal zone and your music zone. So
Yeah.
sometimes you're in your music zone and people are like, oh my god, like you're so good, like, well, we love you, and then you go back into your regular zone. Like it's just really hard to like, go from like being, when you're a musician you're cool, people look up to you, and then you're just a regular person and nobody cares anymore that you have a name. Because musician me and real me are really two different people. I mean, I know I'm
Oh,
one person, but I'm also really two different people.
absolutely. My
Um,
music alter ego, he,
yeah,
he's wild and like.
yeah. Why do you think you get so nervous, or you got so nervous when performing? Was it like the fear of judgment? Was it the fear of failure, like you weren't going to perform as well, or what do you think it was?
I think mine, which I think I'm over it now, but I think it definitely was like fear of judgment. Like I don't know why. Like growing up, I'm very extroverted and I'm very
Yeah.
outgoing and talkative. I can talk to a wall, but like when it came to like singing, like growing up, I kind of built this I don't know, I guess like image in my head that it was like, oh, like just something for me. Like it just, when I was growing up, I did it to myself. I was just very uncomfortable with the idea of other people hearing me sing, I guess because it made me feel so vulnerable. It made me feel not extroverted. It made me feel like
Mm-hmm.
weird. And it took like a few performances to like work to me to just having to like, just I guess, yeah, that fear of judgment, like that fear of like, wow, people are just staring at me. Like it was just like my one weakness. It's like
Yeah.
I can walk and get on the stage and I can present a project with like not like any shyness, but then when it came to like singing, I just like, I don't know. It's like I think it was judgment. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not as good as I think I am. Like I don't
Yeah.
know. But thankfully now I have gotten like with like feedback from releasing music. Like now I'm like confident, and now I will sing like for anybody. Like
Mhm.
now I'm like ready to sing. I want to sing. I want to perform. And like get that
Yeah,
performer high.
for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, because I haven't done a performance in probably like I don't know, over a year, like a year and a half or something, and I was still like like petrified, like of like being vulnerable like that.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
cool. I'm getting there. I'm cool.
Mhm.
I think
How do
I
you,
think I feel it now.
yeah. Oh, I'm so proud of you.
It's okay.
I kind of want to like, do your hair. I know that sounds weird.
Dude, do my hair. You can do whatever you want.
Do you want to like experiment with like different types of
Oh, of
like, I mean, I've
course.
never heard you sing anything sexy, so I'm kind of interested.
Dude, always, of course. My music that I have that's unreleased is like X-rated. Like I'm like I cannot, like my little gentle heart cannot put this on the internet yet. I'm not ready. Totally, like that's like my favorite part about writing is like the lyrics. Like I mean, is about making music is the writing and the lyrics, and
Mhm.
you know, that's that's like some of my favorite part is trying to figure out what I want to say and how I want to say it.
I was just wondering, what's your biggest struggle with music, just in general? Like, what is the hardest part about being a musician to you?
Hardest part about being a musician for me would be not always being able to execute my ideas because I am just a singer.
Yeah.
Like I do have a general understanding of the piano. I can play chords and write a very simple and write a song on a piano, but I'm not like a talented musician. Like I don't play too many instruments, and like so I do kind of have to rely on other people a lot
Yeah.
of times when I have an idea or something. Like I do need help to execute, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I love teamwork and working with people, but it's like sometimes I wish I like could just totally like
Yeah, no,
execute,
I get that.
or it's like if or I have trouble trying to communicate my vision,
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
turned out exactly how I imagined it, and so that's kind of can be a challenge for me.
yeah. So, like, for somebody that's just starting, who's trying to find their sound, who's thinking of releasing things, do you have any advice for like those people that are kind of just starting out?
Just do it, like if I like just create, and not everyone's gonna like it, like that's something a pill I had to swallow. I'm like, some people aren't gonna be into it at all, like, and that's fine, like, and sometimes people like aren't gonna listen to it, like, and aren't things, and that's just like something that like just totally accept it, like it's fine, like that's not why, like it's not why you're doing it,
Yeah,
like don't lose like the why for why you're creating music to get the plays and to get the attention, like that was kind of something that I had to like sort of like kind of like grasp and understand, is that I just had to create because I wanted to create and it felt good, and that's when people started like listening, like they started listening because they're like, oh, like I can tell this is real and authentic, like you're not like whatever. So that'd be my advice, just to do it and to really not like, other people's opinions definitely matter, and like obviously I want plays and I want people to like my music and listen to it, but don't let that be what it's all about.
say somebody's like, tell us what this song means, or is it more like a, like your stance on the situation is more like a, let me tell you what this song means, or is it more of like a, this song is just words and
You have
you,
to interpret it.
yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I know people feel different ways about it. Some people are like, no, I wrote this song for a specific reason, and like this is what it means, and this is my story. And then some people are just like, look, they're just words. You figure it out. Whatever it
Yeah.
means to you.
I go both. Like I definitely love the like open for interpretation. Like I think all of my songs are open for interpretation. Like and it's very interesting, like asking, because a lot of people ask me like, what does your song mean? And of course I wrote it meaning one specific thing, or like I wrote it for a reason, but a lot of times when people ask me what is your song about, I ask them, well, what do you think it's about?
Yeah.
And you so many different answers, and like at first like I did write a song for a reason. I'm trying to tell a story, something that happened to me about someone, whatever. But one of my favorite things that I learned from releasing music is that, oh, it doesn't even matter what I wrote this about. Like this means this to you. And I thought that like that was really cool.
You got it. There you go.
Very interesting, because all of my songs like sound like love songs, but none of them are about like a person. Like none of them are a love song. Not one of them out of the 4 that are released. And it's like, but that's just what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, and I don't feel like explaining that either. Like a lot of times I'm just using like physical, like in Black Eyes, I'm using eyes just as like like personification, just like to putting an image, like to describe, like, and it's like, I don't got time to explain that to everybody.
If you think about it, being an artist is really hard. It requires a lot of like courage, and you have to get over a lot of things to just be able to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people will know that. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are just like, oh, artists, they're just cool people. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just hard. It's hard to put a song out. Um, um, love your music. It's amazing. It's being received really well. I think Cherry Sweets being received very well. It's already number 1 on your streamed songs. Black Eyes doing well as always. Pretty much every song is doing well because it's amazing.
Thanks.
But yeah, I can't wait until I'm gonna put you on my radar. We're gonna do a song together. If shows start up, I'll put you on the damn lineup. You can come play a show.
Yes.
I'm hoping that, I don't know how venues are going to be with shows, but I'm hoping that, we can have, even if it's like house party shows or stuff like that. I think that people really need to hear some live music in their lives. I'm hoping things start going back to normal. Yeah, people are loving the music. I'm so excited for like everything you have in store for the future. It's gonna be great. I can't wait for an EP. I think everybody's like, oh, I want a whole EP. Excited for some indie shit. Excited for some rock shit.
So much for having me and for interviewing me. This is fun.
Yeah. I really, really, really wanted to just talk to you and get to know you. We really, really love your music. It's being received really well, like I said. And just keep up the good work, dude. Everybody's loving it. I know it's really hard being vulnerable. It's really hard putting yourself out there. It's really hard making these songs. But I think you're making the world better. And I think a lot of people are like really, really, really benefiting from these songs. I mean, I've benefited from these songs. Like I said, I know I've been talking about Black Eyes this whole time, but like I really do listen to that song a lot.
Good.
It's really, really, really good. And it really makes me feel things. And it's like, literally, that song's made my life better just by being able to listen to it because it's so fucking good. So, yeah, it was really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You doing you.
Everybody.
I love the rings. I love the jewelry. The jewelry king.
Oh, dude, I'm the jewelry. I like have to have jewelry every day. Rings and necklaces all day, every day.
And the bracelet. Your little bracelet on one of the hands. I saw you.
Oh, yeah. It's scrunchies.
Yes. Okay. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.